So, I have played the beta for Monster Hunter Wilds, and it reminded me of Monster Hunter 4. To a veteran, you can probably see where I'm going with this. But for you New World Hunters, let me tell you exactly what I mean and why I am so excited for Wilds to finally come out in February. I started Monster Hunter with Monster Hunter Tri, or more specifically, 3U, and I got hooked. Needless to say, though, the transition from Monster Hunter 2, or because I'm a Westie boy, Freedom 2, to 3 was extreme. I legally acquired Freedom 2 the other day just to see what it was like, and damn. The jump was big. Massive changes, highly experimental. The biggest of which being the underwater combat. Then 4 comes along with massive improvements on what 3 created. More focus on verticality, unique landscapes and traversal, ease of getting around, more unique and creative monster designs, a bigger focus on the story, where each area has its own unique people with culture and you can see the similarities, right? World was boldly creative, took a massive risk, and changed so much of what made Monster Hunter, with major additions like the slinger, the non-segmented areas, getting off the fucking horrific hardware that is the Nintendo consoles, a full rewrite of the AI, just like 3, environmental effects going off the charts, ecosystem enforcements, the biggest risk Capcom has ever taken. And it paid off. It's now Capcom's most sold game by a landslide. Now you may be wondering, what would you rate World? Well, it being Capcom's biggest game ever, the biggest Monster Hunter, the best Monster Hunter to date, I have to give it a 9. Now, before the comments section eats me like a well-done steak, the transition between Generations and 4 to World had a couple sliding slopes and rocky edges. It's about being the god-awful multiplayer where you need to watch a cutscene and then back out and all of that for a story that is worse than 4. Like here, 3 sentences to describe the story of base game World. We fucked up tracking a mountain-sized dragon somehow until it dies, like me in this cutscene, or hunt, because I suck at fighting right now. We then think the environment is getting fucked up by Nergigante, so we kill it, despite the fact that it's the only predator for every apex of the Elder's Recess. Oh, but we were wrong, and it's Xeno'jiiva instead, so we kill it. But we're right this time. That's the whole story of base game World. And if you think I'm lying or misinterpreting the facts or anything else, you know damn well I'm correct. My other 2 minor gripes with World are the monster variety. Like, most of the monsters in base game World, not including the title updates where they fixed some of that, fought pretty much the same as each other. Like, don't get me wrong, I think most of the World newcomers are awesome. Nerg, Odogaron, Valhazak, they're pretty cool. But they also spent development time porting in the worst Kushala fight ever, the worst Kirin fight ever, and the stupid Mudfish. And there's a saying that I have where the final monster of a Monster Hunter really determines how people feel about it, and I think the same applies for Xeno'jiiva. Xeno'jiiva is just bad. It's a boring fight. Weapon design also took a massive hit. I heard a rumor, so it's not confirmed, I'm not saying this happened, that there was like 1 or 2 people assigned to the weapon designs, and they didn't have enough time, so they just kind of ended up with the whole slap-on weapons that World is filled with. Yeah, World's a 9 out of 10 game, which, again, it's not perfect. And there's a lot of things I do really like. But I can't call it the perfect Monster Hunter. You're probably wondering, where does Rise fit into this? It doesn't. I could make an entire video on Rise, why is the backup plan, if World screws up, but that's just out of scope. This video's gonna be long as hell already, so, you know. But if I had to compare it between 3 and 4, I'd say it's Monster Hunter Dynamic Hunting. And if you know what the hell that means, you're probably gonna call me stupid in the comments section. Now, that's enough whining about the other games. Let's get into Wilds, and why it's extremely similar to 4. First of all, plot. The general plot seems to be leading us around a couple key components. We have different tribes from each locale, like 4, each with their own unique culture that our main band of heroes, consisting of a smithy, the entire other units, Alma, us, our cat, and the weird kid that we have with us, will travel around to learn more about this Monster Hunter Wilds.
I'm glad you're all right.
And just like 4, there's a central monster at the heart of the entire plot. For Wilds, it's Arkveld, the White Wraith. I expect us to see Arkveld pretty frequently throughout the story of Wilds. And for 4, it was the Gore Magala, and Shigaro Magala, but shut up. Not only is the story similar, but the NPCs are very similar in design as well. I'm not going to go into the whole is Gemma, Little Miss Forge type stuff here, but you cannot tell me the red jacket she has on isn't a direct reference to the Caravanier's jacket. Also, Fabius, the guy that talks to you at the start and gives you your mission, he's just straight up the Ace Lancer. This also makes him the third of the Ace Hunters to make a return if you count Julius being mentioned by name post Fatalis. Which, yes, his name is Julius. As confirmed by the Netflix special. Yeah. Now, let's talk about what's being brought over as refinement for both World and Rise. Let's start with the secret. The secret is the solution to a problem World introduced with the sequential areas. You just want to go somewhere, there's no loading screen, no nothing, and it kind of makes the map, like, gigantic. Especially in areas like the Ride Vale of the Ancient Forest. Although every area in World kind of had this issue. The Scoutflies were obviously a solution to this, but even though they made it easier and possible to navigate, you know, you can easily find your way around, you still have to deal with the reality that it takes forever to get anywhere. Fast traveling to different camps helps a bit, but no matter how many camps you put in, there's just times where that's just going to be extremely slow. Iceborne's solution was the Raiderize. You go, whoop, and they'll port you to the monster you're tracking, or whatever the hell else you want to track on the map. Well, it did fix most of the tedium and made moving from fighting the monster to it running away to fighting it again a little less painful. It's still jank as hell. It's sometimes just decides not to work, especially in the guiding lanes. It takes you just somewhere random, and you get stuck on other monsters. It's not a good. It's good. It's just not perfect. Then Rise comes along, says, all right, the players don't like not having a controllable mount. Let's give them a very controllable mount, the Palamute. The Palamute is simple. You ride the dog wherever you want to go. Except there's a couple issues. One, the dog replaces the cat in multiplayer missions. And the dog is barely faster than just wire bugging to wherever you want to go. Like, the wire bugs in Rise, I will admit, they made moving around a lot more fun. And it kind of clashed with the Palamute, because why would I ride a mount to where I want to go when I could just catapult myself through the air? That, and again, you can only bring a dog or a cat in multiplayer. The only people I see in Rise multiplayer bringing dogs are those who haven't swapped it out for, like, actually useful gear, still having it on starting gear, or they have a dog-layered armor they'd really like Volcana, Jamie. It's not a hard choice between dog who can do one thing sometimes and cat that can bring a literal Dragonator and heal you. Like, it's not a difficult choice to make. Enter the secret. As you just saw, you want to go somewhere? Just fucking go there, stupid. You press the button to get on the funny little lizard, wyvern, feather bird. What the fuck even is the secret? Anyway, you just go there. That's all you do. You press the button, you go there. It can move automatically. It can move however much way you want it to move. It's good. And this brings me really well into a transition into talking about the weapons. Now, I'm not going to talk about each of the weapons specifically. I am very likely to make a different video talking about the changes that have been made to the weapons and all that. But for now, I'm going to just give one word to describe the changes to every single weapon. Except one, but I'll get into that next video. Control. Focus mode is more than a gimmick. It's a natural part of the combat that flows well. Like, look at that. Boom, boom, boom. It's just so simple. It just works. You can, you can control any of your normal attacks by using focus mode. And you can even see here, during this hunt on a Chupacabra with the longsword, I have to physically learn to use focus mode to aim my strikes better. And since you can use pretty much any attack with manual aiming, it feels like you're fighting the monster more and your controller less, which is exactly what you want. Each weapon also has a very satisfying wound to strike focus big attack, and I want to talk about the wounds so badly. Okay, the Clutch Claw. Nobody liked it. And I want to preface this. No one liked the Clutch Claw, not because of what it did, but because of how it did it. Doing a thing to wound a part of the monster to be able to do more damage to it is cool. The problem is you're attaching yourself to a monster. It's inconsistent as hell because it uses pretty much the same programming that the zero-sum discharge of the Switch Axe does, which is already jank enough. And it's just... You're attaching yourself to a monster. That's a prime recipe to get yourself killed. So, what do? You want to do more damage to a specific part? You want to cut the tail? Just fucking do it. Just attack the tail. The wounds appear naturally as you flow through combat. You don't have to think about using a wound. It's more of a, oh great, the tenderization of the Clutch Claw broke. I need to go re-tenderize now. It's just, oh, the wound appeared. Time to do my big super focus attack on it. It's a difference of a tedium that needs to be reapplied and something that gives you the opportunity to strike heavy and strike hard. It's an amazing evolution of the Clutch Claw and the Silkbind attacks from Rise combined into one system that flows better than both. And I will be shocked if the portable game of the 6th generation or Monster Hunter 7, whichever comes first, does not include the focus mode. It is such a good feature. Now, I do have a couple concerns about the beta. It's not all sunshine and roses. And yeah, there's no way around it. The game runs like shit. Okay. My rig has a 4090, a 7950 X3D, 64 gigabytes of RAM, game is installed on an SSD, and yes, I will continue to call people that do not have this game installed on an SSD a fucking idiot. It's 2024, dude. It's a next-gen game. You can't put it on a hard drive. It's just not going to work. And I only got between 70 and 60 frames on, ultra settings without frame generation, because frame generation makes the game look like garbage. Now, there's a bit of hope here. I think this might be caused by a bug, because I don't have the testing footage, but I tested it by doing as much as I could to really push the game to its limits, and got 40 FPS during the Sand Tide in a lobby filled with players, which seemed to have a very heavy effect on the performance. And my GPU's utilization, same with my CPUs, never went above 50. So something's up there. And considering this is affecting the consoles too, I entirely believe that Capcom will have fixed this by the time the full game releases. I do think this is a temporary bug that they just haven't been able to fix yet because, like, it's kind of hard to ignore. It's affecting every console, apparently, I think. I don't know. Reddit has been very mixed. You have half the community saying, oh, the game runs fine on my thing, to half of them saying that the game runs like shit no matter what. Yeah. I don't know, but I believe they fixed it. And for the final thing, bugs. Here's a few that I personally encountered, none of which I got on video because I was doing testing during these to try and like see if I could get it to use more GPU. Yeah, randomly teleporting mid-attack is a pretty common bug. It's inconsistent, so I don't know what the hell causes it, but sometimes you'll just be like doing a big swing with your gun lance and be warped off a cliff. I don't know. I'd rate this as an annoying bug more than a game-breaking one. One that is entirely game-breaking. Balahara getting stuck on a sand dune and being untargetable, effectively soft-locking the quest. Yeah, that's not a good one. It was only the same sand dune, so I'd imagine that like people have seen it and they'll fix it. Minor bug, game-breaking, but it'll get fixed. It's a beta after all. And the final bug, which is by far the funniest one I encountered, upside down Ray Dow. Like, it just straight up flipped upside down. It's great. Besides that, mostly bug-free experience. The game flows well, and even though my frame rate was not where I'd like it, it still was a pretty consistent frame rate. I didn't notice any, like, major, like, stutters or jumps. And while it was a shit FPS, I'd much prefer shit frame rate that's consistently shit to good frame rate that's occasionally shit. The stuttering, I just cannot live with. It hurts my soul. So, yeah. That's my thoughts so far on the beta. I'm definitely going to make, like, more videos. Probably one going over each of the weapons, one going over each monster, and I'm really hoping for a beta too, but it's probably not going to happen. We're in November. We got 3-4 months before the game officially comes out. Like, I don't know. Like, that's the worst part about being a Monster Hunter fan. The waiting hurts. Anyway, to all my SS14 fans who have stuck through, thank you so much. I'm still going to be covering SS14, but Monster Hunter has been my passion for pretty much my entire life, so it takes precedent. I'd like to thank my channel members, Sathier Lepin, Lol Tart, and Admiral Obvious. If you want to support me, down below, you can. I also have tips enabled, although the last guy that tipped me, I didn't see who it was. If that was you who donated the 25, shout outs. I want to know who you are. I want to thank you. I appreciate it. Yep. And when the full game comes out, you know I'll be streaming it and playing it. See ya. Hey, I finally did an intro or outro. God damn it, I fucked it up. Motherfucker, I fucked up the last point. God damn it.